Steve.
You and me both.
So many things going on.
What's that? That went away, I think. About the time I was sued the last time by him.
Steers.
In New Orleans? He had to cover
Passed
for
me
his
the
boss.
note of the wording,
Called out
and I mean, I was
his son got
I
sick.
supported it
Speaking of which, how's your,
for what that's worth.
Went back in the hospital.
they,
We could go Sunday. She got an infection that went into the
Not much, apparently.
She took her in a week ago Sunday, and
I got a jury duty on my phone. Kind of
well, that's
I'm
good.
so jealous.
She's out of ICU and,
I'll never sit on a jury.
I just need to look at those.
problems.
You have to go down and sit there and wait for them to kick you off.
No, I'm good.
Her fluid, crazy.
I'm good.
yeah,
Trying to
They're all
flush.
guilty of killing.
Yeah, I bet. God.
but at least
Yeah, here's your good one.
Yeah, I got it. Under control, maybe.
still has 2 weeks.
You shouldn't be trying to get off.
You get a ticket.
We need reasonable, rational, smart people on juries.
In the arm.
They've got a pick line. No. Take out court because of the infection.
Pick for a jury, but pick
Ooh.
ticket. We have another engineer in office.
Oh.
Go all the way through. Every day.
I show that it is 6 o'clock, so I'm going to call the December 15th Maumelle Planning Commission. What time did I say? 6 o'clock? You gotta give me a little slack. We'll call that to order. Mr. Neri, do we have any announcements?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very unexpectedly, Commissioner Ramsey had to be in New Orleans this morning at 8 a.m. for a meeting to stand in for his supervisor, so he will not be with us this evening.
Okay, that's it.
Yes, sir.
All right, next item on the agenda is the approval of the November 17th meeting. All commissioners have copies of those minutes. Are there any additions or corrections?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes as submitted.
Second.
Have a motion and several seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Opposed, that motion carries. We have no public comment cards, so at this time I'll open the public hearing portion of the meeting. Have no old business, moving right into new business. Mr. Neri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item on the agenda is a preliminary development plan for the expansion of the Maumelle Public Library. And as I've explained to some of you, it seems that I do some of my best thinking when I'm at home sometimes. So over the weekend, I thought back to the Planning Commission subcommittee meeting, and it dawned on me that while the major portion of the library is in a C1 zoning district, this section where the parking bleeds over into a PCD zoning district, so therefore an actual preliminary development plan for this section is needed. I contacted Mr. Hankins on Monday. The review of a site plan and the development plan are almost exactly the same. He added a couple of items I needed for the development plan, renamed it, resubmitted it, and we effected another staff review. So after what amounts to 3 staff reviews, the one remaining item is the satisfaction of all engineering comments. Mr. Rahman was in Denver for a major portion of this week. Mr. Hankins tried to send him some things, and Mr. Rahman wouldn't get it. I then tried to forward it to him myself. He still didn't get it, nor was he getting my phone calls or my texts to see if he got it. At 5:30 this afternoon, while in a cab headed to the Denver airport, Mr. Rahman texted me and said he got it and he's fine with a conditional approval. Therefore, staff will recommend for a do-pass recommendation to the Maumelle City Council.
Said that without taking a breath. That's good. All right. Are there any questions of staff from the commissioners? If there are no questions, staff, are there any questions by the commissioners of the applicant?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Is there someone here from Central Arkansas Library?
Yes, sir, all of those.
Okay,
You come forward and give your name and address for the record.
I'm Nate Coulter. I'm the Executive Director of the Central Arkansas Library System.
thank you for coming, Mr. Coulter.
Thank you.
This,
And I'm Dan Baronic from McClellan Engineers here to assist.
thank you, sir.
You have your address for us?
It's on the,
7304, I believe,
I think it's 900
Canis.
West Markham.
It used to be 900 West Markham. We just moved.
Mine is 100 South Rock Street, Little Rock 72201.
That's close enough.
Okay, this area, this is the second time I've seen the library. I think, I believe I'm the only one that's here since the board of directors. So I've been here for a while, and this area has been unique. I'll use those words. And over the course of the recent development with the charter school and with what the city's doing, and also trying to get additional access for Pulaski County School District and the private landowners settling some issues, we've kind of trying to straighten things up, and we've done a pretty good job of that so far, but we need something from you. On the entrance, before you get to your first driveway, on where that concrete ditch is, as far as we can tell, there's no dedicated right-of-way. And we need that, if you would be so kind.
Sure. The mayor spoke to us a few moments ago about that, and I guess the mayor's good at ferreting things out, and y'all are too, that we've missed, but that's something we clearly would all benefit from getting cleared up, and we'll take care of that in the, I guess,
Very
do a
In a
plat.
plat.
Mhm.
The other thing that I have is just a word of caution. You're changing out your heating system and you're going to wells. Right now, you have piping that's in our lake, and we're kind of particular about our lake. So I know you will, but just please be careful when you pull out your old piping.
Do that, I assure you. One of the reasons we're doing this project, that the mayor and the board have heard more than they want to hear probably from me, but I do want to make our commitment to protecting the lake has been part of the reason why we're having to do this. The main reason is we need more parking, which is a good problem to have. People using our library, and we like that. And this is a very strong library in our system of 14 libraries, and we're proud of it. And we want people to have a place to park, and we understand what you're saying about the charter school and the congestion over there. We don't want to contribute to that by having people unnecessarily parking around or on the street. We want to do our part. So we're willing to borrow money, committed by all of our branches paying the stream of bond payments. But while we're doing that, we want to fix that geothermal system 20 years ago that was put in out there. The library's tried over the course of the last 25, 30 years when Bobby Roberts was the director to build buildings that put more money up front on things like geothermal, because in the long run it would save the taxpayers money on utility bills. And we're pretty adamant about thinking that's in the taxpayers' best interest. But that system is worn out for whatever reasons, and we've not really been able to use it in the way you should because we're worried about it being worn out and maybe damaged. And one of the things that the operations people tell me is they haven't been able for a year or two to put the kind of cleaning fluids or solvents in that system that you really need to put in there to maintain it properly. And when you don't do that, apparently you run some greater risk of messing up your HVAC. So that's one of the reasons we want to get it out of there. And what we're going to do is drive it under the new parking lot, so it won't ever be an eyesore. It won't, risk the water table or any damage to the lake. But we want to get it out of there with the same attention to being careful about it as we tried to have in the last 2 or 3 years when we thought it was not stable. There were some problems with it.
Bad experience with it floating, I think y'all mentioned in the last meeting, so we want to remove it and get it out of the lake.
Yeah, we're committed to getting it out of there in a way that's responsible and sensible. And the main reason we want to put it under that parking lot is we think it'll be better for us and our equipment. It'll be better for the lake.
Excellent. One more question. Do you agree to abide by the city engineer's policies and his recommendations as far as detention?
Yes, we'll meet the ordinance. We may investigate the in lieu, but I think for the small site that we're at,
Yeah, you might
we'll go
wanna-
with the detention.
You might want to check out the whole 9 cards on the in lieu, because you have to, the whole site, and it's a recommendation, and then it's approved by somebody else. So, again, just do your homework, and I'm sure you will.
we try to do that at the library. We think that's important. So library should be held to a higher standard because we got resources we ought to look at and not go into something without doing our homework. So we think we're always benefited by hiring top flight professionals, and the Fennell Purifoy firm and the McClellan Engineering firm. They even things that we don't know about and that we can't find answers. We got people to help us, so we'll do it, and we want to be doing it in every way that everybody out here is pleased with us, and nobody says, well, they cut corners or they didn't do something right. We want it to be first class and get there in a first class way. So if there's anything that you hear or you think or somebody's concerned about, y'all can find me on the internet or call me down. Kind of like the mayor, I spend a lot of my time with patrons who are unhappy about this or that, and that's part of what I need to do. So if we at any point seem to be straying, or you think there's some problem out here that we don't know about, holler, let me know.
Thank you very much, sir.
We'll do it, fix it. Thank you.
Any other commissioners' questions? Okay, well, gentlemen, we appreciate that. So this is the first item we have to go through and approve.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, I'd entertain a motion for the revised site plan for the Maumelle Library Extension.
The preliminary development plan, it moves on to city council, right?
Yes, and staff has made a due pass recommendation.
Okay, so make a recommendation that we send this on to city council with a due pass, contingent on staff and commissioner comments.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion on that? If not, all in favor, yes?
Yes.
Opposed? That will pass on to the full city board. Next item is a revised landscape plan for the Maumelle Library expansion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next two items stay with the commission. After a third staff review, staff will recommend for approval as resubmitted.
Commissioners, questions of staff? Are there any questions of the applicant? There are none. I'd entertain a motion for approval of the revised landscape plan.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for approval of the revised landscape plan for the Maumelle Library expansion. It's Central Arkansas Library System as the applicant.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconds again. Any further discussion? All those in favor, yes?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is revised commercial building design. Mr. Neri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. After a third staff review, staff will recommend for approval as resubmitted.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, any questions of staff? Any questions of the applicant? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve the revised commercial building design for the Maumelle Library expansion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, yes?
Yes.
Opposed? That carries. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Gentlemen, I would make mention to you before you go that your development plan will be before the Maumelle City Council on Tuesday, January 3rd at 6 p.m.
It had come up before, and just to help anybody who gets asked a question, assuming the board approves the plan and we get started, the tweaking of the architectural drawings ought to be done by February, and we think this will take 6 or 7, 8 months at the most to get done. So we're committed to trying to do it as quickly as possible. We started looking at this about a year ago when the manager out here was complaining about the parking, and we knew there were issues. But as soon as we get it lined out and detailed out, it should take 7 or 8 months. So by Thanksgiving next year, it'll all be finished.
I was looking at the last expansion plans in 2006 and reading the minutes, and ironically, the project team asked the planning commission at that time for a waiver of 5 parking spaces because they thought they didn't need that many.
The best laid plans.
Yeah.
But we do, one of the things that the library has tried to do is to go back to the professionals, architects or the contractors who've worked on projects before. And in this case, it was Flynn Co. that did the construction work, that's right. And Flinco will do it again for us, the expansion here, and it was Fennell Purifoy, the architects who worked on it before, so we go back to them. I think everybody's got commitment and knows what the problems were last time, if there were any, and we just think that works better for everybody. So it's a group of people who are committed to giving you something that you'll use and be proud of, and we want to hear if there's something that you think is inconsistent with that. Just holler at me, let me know.
Not being able to speak for the city board, I would imagine they're going to approve it since they approved the bonds.
I'll keep coming out here till they tell me not to. So, thank you for putting up with us.
Gentlemen, thank you all for coming. All right, at this time, we'll close the public hearing meeting and go into the liaison reports. I had November 21st. I was noticeably absent, but I did view it on the site, which was an interesting meeting.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys. Items of interest for us. At the third reading of ordinance 915, and that was appointing new commissioners for the villages of New Bedford. Hold on a second. They had the second reading of ordinance 916, and that was the rezoning request at 200 Casey Drive at 4.5 acres. Next item was the approval of the library bond issue. Next item was the one that took a considerable length of time, and that was a request for variance of the fencing for the swimming pool by Steve and Cheryl Mosley. As you probably all know, that was denied on a 4-3 vote, excuse me, which I think paralleled our vote. Our vote was 4-3 also, if I remember.
Correct.
So, then moving on down, the board passed a resolution 2016-35, which is to pass on to the county, I believe, of the past due utility bills. Next item was ordinance 918, and that was clearing up the language of Chapter 18 of the Municipal Code, and that was for the judge, since we've gone down to what, one judge for Maumelle and Jacksonville.
Yes.
So that would just clean up language to meet the state code or state change that took place. And that was about all that took place at that meeting. All right. Mr. Gerstner, you had December 5th.
Likewise, I observed this meeting via the video on the website. Items of interest, third reading and passage of ordinance 917, the amendment to the master zoning map. That's the rezoning of the 4.5 acres on Casey from PCD to C3. Second reading of ordinance 918 regarding the judge. Additionally, the council passed resolution 2016-36 approving the preliminary development plan for CCOA Phase 24A. Additionally, had first reading of ordinance 919 to accept and confirm the dedication of streets and drainage for Phase 24A of CCOA. First reading of ordinance 920 to accept and confirm dedication of streets and drainage for the chalets at Country Club. Additionally, a resolution approving the revised membership fees for the Maumelle Center on the Lake. And finally, first reading of ordinance 921 to accept dedication of the gardens at Ridgeview Trails.
All right, liaison coming up. The December meeting is Ramsey, and then John's got January 3rd, and Craig, you've got the 17th.
Yes, sir.
Also point out that Mr. Todd is up for re-election if he so chooses. He's the only one this time. Normally it's 2-2. I guess it was 2-2-2 and 1.
Mhm.
So
Meeting.
It'll probably be February.
February.
February meeting. Yeah, so he'll be able to report to us for his January having to go, just in case he doesn't get
Well, I
reappointed.
asked.
All right, is there anything else to come before the commission?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn, second. All in favor, yes. Everybody have a happy holiday.
And a safe one.